Welcome to her Summit 2022 presented by Her Network. And this year is aimed to bringing together young leaders, entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, and professionals from different industries. They're here to discuss technology, they're here to discuss music, they're here to discuss entrepreneurship, and also other dues. Interesting, right? I know. And wait for it. The theme of this year is the power of community. Very exciting. So, how about we go join some of the sessions? Who knows? You might just pick up one or two things. And you know, in this economy, darling, getting inspired is everything. I'm La Bevition. You're watching AFOREVO TV. Keep it locked.
My name is Nkem Ongdiwe. I am from Anambra State, a middle child, proud daughter of my father and the founder of her network. And now, the convener of her summit. It's a great pleasure to welcome all of you to this space, to this room. I am so pleased that you're all here today. And to those that traveled far to be here, I know someone is here from Kaduna. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for being here.
Okay, so just to get this started, the first question for me, Yetunde, is what healthcare and wellness problem is Muti helping to solve? I mean, there's so many healthcare problems in Nigeria, but what is the 1, 2, 3 problems that you're focused on solving in this market?
Thank you very much for that question. As part of our objective in Muti, our aim is to promote health and also restore health, to prevent diseases and also to manage our patients' health. So we've been able to do that by creating a number of programs. The programs include diabetic test and treat for diabetic clients. So it's just to help manage their health. Then there is a program for women with breast cancer. It's called the Air Radio Program. So, it gives accessibility for women with free radiotherapy. So the Air Radio Program provides women with free radiotherapy and other treatment. Then we've partnered with a lot of multinational pharmaceutical companies to ensure that their expensive drugs are made available and affordable to multi-members. Drugs like anti-cancer drugs, anti-diabetic, anti-hypertensive, anticoagulants, and other highly expensive drugs. Then we also organize community health screenings. We go into the community. We are in partnership with over 850 drugstores across Africa, and we've screened over 14,000 patients across Africa. So we go into the community to ensure that they get access to wellness, health, and drugs at very affordable rate. And then they can also consult with doctors. So presently, that is where we are.
What I want to ask is, is there a plan on your site where individuals could literally have some kind of certification for healthcare in terms of if there's an emergency, they could just literally, if they're in Abuja or not in Lagos, they could literally just go to your site with a card or something that could provide health services to them.
Okay, yes. If you need to access an emergency healthcare, emergency or no emergency, because we treat every cases as an emergency. So if you need our services, all you need to do is reach out to us, either on our website. You need to speak with a representative immediately for a contact number. We have our call center services. So you can ask to speak with a pharmacist or a doctor, a medical doctor, or even a nurse. We have nurses still in-house. I'm a registered nurse. So we have nurses still in-house. So you need to speak to a registered nurse. And then you lodge your complaint.
Before we directly speak about your tech ventures, I'd like each of you to just spend a minute to answer, based on your non-tech business, to what extent can it operate effectively without technology? So we'll go first.
Hello everyone, welcome to Her Network. Before I start, can we just give a round of applause for this fantastic event? Well done. So my name is Buki George Taylor. I own a public relations company. called Robert Taylor Media. As you know, PR from 10 years ago, PR now is completely different. We are relying quite a bit on some tech to gather information and insights to provide to our clients, especially when we're reporting. I had zero tech experience when I decided to build Crawl app. If you haven't downloaded this app, it is the most amazing app, if I may say so myself. Because on a Friday night, I want to go eat steak in Lagos and I don't know where to go, and I can open up that app and check that out. And funny enough, the app is also really helping our PR side of things. Because we have a hospitality department, we work with different alcohol brands, we work with various events and things like that. Through my app, I am able to gather data on, for example, women who like art and like champagne. Because some of those questions come up when you open up the app. And I'm able to then filter my guest listing for an art event, for example. I'm able to publicize through my app as well, because I can send out push notifications and tell everyone in this room where to go, right? So I do definitely see a relationship with the app and my business as well, and that's basically it.
It's been interesting because, as Balake said, my background is even out of this industry completely. I'm an energy economist, and for me, I saw a need, and I built upon that need. So problem solving is at the core of why I began to create Oriki. But I have allowed technology to play a critical and central role in driving this business from inception. So again, it's non-traditional tech because the way Oriki started was first through products, through its product range of natural products using ingredients sourced from Africa. But then we moved into creating these wellness spaces and centers. And I mean, that requires you to physically come in for a service, the wellness. But then we realized something really powerful, something similar to what Bookie touched upon, which is just staying close to our customers and hearing what our customers needed. The wellness sector has changed drastically from when we started till now. And I would say that when I tell the story of Unwind, which is the app we've built now, first of its kind in Africa, it's the Uber for spas, and it's wellness on demand. Thank you.
So my name is Toby Olanihu. I run an experiential events company called Wow Connect. I've been in business for about 12 years now, I think. I know nothing, so yeah. The events industry is very interesting and can be very chaotic or very interesting. And I think from the onset, I've always wanted to do things differently. I've always been driven by innovation. Because even if I use the example of during COVID, when, as Joyce said, that was the time when everybody was like, whoa, is me? It was the time to just say, what next? And that's when we started doing a lot of team bonding, virtual things. We started doing virtual events at the very, very beginning. Some people actually said to me, were you wishing for COVID? I was like, no, I wasn't, but I just had to move, right? And it brought to the fore what I already knew many years ago. I love to learn, and maybe 4 years or 3 years into events, I started going for conferences all over the world, and I just noticed that it was really different. It was always very seamless. It was always technology driven. It was data driven. It was really different, and I always wondered why we were behind. So even then, I went to exhibitions, tried to partner with some of these, especially American companies that did registrations, ticketing, event tech, data sourcing, all those kind of things. But I realized it was kind of a cabal because nobody wanted. I said I wanted to be your person in Africa. I wanted to actually drive a lot of these technology solutions for events. But I was always getting closed doors. I don't know. Well, I know why now because there's a lot of money in it. But
one thing I've noticed with us in this generation is that there's that thing to be the jack of all trades, master of all. You believe, okay, let me have 10 businesses in one. Whatever ways, anyhow, one thing will bring money. Is it a wise decision to make? And if not, based on the fact that you have more than one, what was the drive? What did you finalize it on the first one to make you want to start the second one? Because I mean, if there has to be something that makes you convinced that, okay, you know what, I'm good on this side, I can start on the other side. So maybe I advise people that think if they have 5 businesses, they're good. Is it really a thing? Thank you very much.
Thank you. My 9 to 5 sees me doing a lot of personal branding during the day. And I know that one of the biggest questions that I get asked is, you know, how do I brand myself and what am I known for? If I have 7 businesses, hairdresser, makeup artist, painter, everybody, who am I? And it's very, very difficult. And that's why you find that people who are jack of all trades actually struggle quite a bit. If you look at all of us sitting down here, everyone owns their own business. Toby has Wild Connect, which I've known forever. How old are you? 12. Oh, 9. Joycey has Ricky and I have. All of our apps are relatable to what we do.
What you thought of some of the sessions that have gone on?
Yeah, so what I thought about some of the sessions, wow, they were really, really inspiring. I got to meet a lot of people that I've been looking forward to meeting and I've been looking up to. And you know what, struck me were the stories, because it's like identical to what I'm going through currently.
So it kind of resonates.
Yes, and I draw strength from their experiences, and yes, I'm on the right track.
So I will say Mr. Adekpetu, because she has always been a mentor to me and a mother to me especially, and I have, we've had close interaction. I think I learned a lot from her, and I can resonate with her story because she used to work in a corporate environment before she became an entrepreneur.
She said for 14 years.
Exactly. I have also been a banker before I followed my passion, which is real estate, even though I'm a real estate professional and I had my BSc in estate management. So I had that unsatisfaction to go back to the real estate industry, even though I was making more money at that time at the bank. But I needed to go back, do all my professional exams, and I'm happy with what God is doing through us in the real estate industry.
I went and worked for an organization called the Crown Agents. And that was very much, I think, where my love and passion for all things international development started. Did I know that it would lead me here? I would be lying to tell you that. But I knew that when I saw the job application, I was fired up. I was like, wow, I get to be a lawyer and work with, organizations like the UN and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. But guess what? They paid me very little compared, it wasn't comparable to the city. And I'm saying this again because I think sometimes there's a lot of packaging and there's a lot of lies being told. So I'm just here to say, please, if where your journey starts is not where it ends. So that was the start for me. But guess what? That then led me to a career in the city in London, which is where it was high-pressured corporate finance. And I wanted to do it because it felt like, okay, this is something that is great. I'm testing myself. I'm pushing myself to the limit. But this is where I will talk about things not working out and it being a failing. I didn't like it. So I literally went from a job where I wasn't paid so much to one where I tripled my salary overnight. And I say this again to just encourage people. It was great to have the experience. It was a great, what will I call it now? A skill shop. I upskilled, I learned, but then I realized that I wanted to also serve my continent, Nigeria. So anyways, there's a longer version of the story. Because this is an intro, I'll keep it short. But it led to my moving to Nigeria and then coming back to say, I want to be on the right side of the table. I want to be able to help from this end where you're basically carrying out negotiations from the Nigerian end, supporting our continent beyond Nigeria. And then, having to interface with Europe or America where the training was also helpful. So that's what I'm saying. Never perfect. Start the journey. Don't get paralyzed by fear. The ones that don't work out will also propel you to where you need to be follow your passion.
Let me just start off from exactly where Pearl left off, of saying sometimes you do not know everything that you want, but you know what you don't want. I'm very excited to be here, and I like the fact that it's our network. If I've taken nothing away, my network has increased, like the women on this panel. Everyone out there that as I'm looking at your faces, I honestly I don't run off very quickly, so please let's have that chat after the event. I will really get to know us, get to have our conversations. The version of the story that we tell here is just a fraction. There's a lot more, the interactions. My name is the same thing on my Instagram page as well, so I'm putting that up front to start. But in terms of my career story, I started off not knowing what I really wanted to do, and I'm intentional about opening with that because of the pressure where people tell you you've got to have a plan, know what you want to do, what is the profile. So I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I was sure of the things I didn't want to do. So I started my list from the bottom, ruling out the things that I would not want to do. And straight out of school, I started working with multinational because I knew that if I went through a management training program, I would touch bits and pieces. And in the process, I'll figure out what I wanted to do. So that's where I started. I started as management trainee and went through different processes of different organizations. All the HR people, shout out to you here. And then HR at some point figured that I was good in something, which was science. I was your average nerd, passed through academics and all the numbers and all the A's. And put me in a very science-based role, but I knew I wanted to be front-facing. I knew I wanted to tell the stories of the brand. I knew that I could use brands to solve systemic issues and really live my purpose through brands. And I started to think, what would I do? How would I get there? And what came to me at the time was very random, marketing. And I had no marketing background, I had no training. So what I did, went to, just said I'll go to business school, I'll go learn. And when I come back, I would say to HR, I have arrived. Move me. Like, what else are you looking for? Just move me. This is it. But the story didn't go that way, and part of my story was saying the option that I was given at the time. Imagine that I had 11 years experience, and the options were continuing this path that we figure is good for you, or if you really want to short-circuit your career in code, you're going to restart. I said that again, restart. So that was exactly what I did. Experience 11 years, I was definitely that I wanted to make the move. So I crossed into marketing.
I wrote a very crude business plan at the time, and I remember on the 1st of October, 1999, I typed out everything, and I had a few trusted mentors that I showed. And they said, okay, that's a good one. So I started working towards my resignation, and then before I resigned, of course, incorporated a company. Then I did a pilot scheme. I just rented a hall for 2 days during Easter, Good Friday and a Saturday. And then a friend of mine used to go to Dubai to buy stuff. So I got school lists from different friends, who had school children in Olashowe, Loyola, Isoye, and so many of the schools. And I bought all the items of those, just a little bit, And I went to Dubai, did all that, took my vacation, did all that. And then I used all those things and partnered with other vendors and had a 2-day exhibition. And what I did then, because you have to be innovative, I got the PTA director of all the schools that I knew of, and I sent letters to them by EMS post at the time. And I also printed flyers, put it in churches and all of that. And it was a huge success. That research, that pilot scheme was it for me, that I knew that this was an essential. And I also felt, I'm solving a problem here, that's number one. This is a niche area, that's number two. Will children always be born? Will children always go to school? Yes. And so I just thought, you know what? I think you've got the right business, and that's how it started.
What was the most interesting part of that panel that you hosted? I mean, like, what was the one person that you resonated with a lot?
So, to be very honest, I can't really pick one person. I know that sounds like I'm trying to cheat, but I'm really not. I think for me, all of the women sort of had this approach to leadership that I found to be incredibly transformative, but also holistic in the sense that they prioritized themselves as well as the impact that they were seeking to make. And I think that that's something that we can learn from all of them in terms of not only preserving, our own well-being, but also seeking out to help others as well.
They've been talking about technology and how it propels and helps businesses, how the whole idea of them starting apps in business was basically to solve problems, to talk about entrepreneurship. So far, the sessions that have gone on, what is the biggest takeaway you've gotten from all the panelists that have spoken?
Well, my personal favorite is Bumi Adeniba, and you can already guess why. I'm building a career for myself, which she's kind of sort of, gotten to a very reasonable level, like the zenith, or so to speak, the peak of her career. So I really I look onto her so much, and it was such a pleasure to hear her speak in a close, in an intimate environment.
My role as an economist allows me to also delve into policy-inclined activities. So outside my role as an economist, let me just mention, as an economist, I have to write. I do a lot of writing and projection. And I have over 700 published economic notes under my belt. And thank you. I've also been appointed as a national consultant for the UN Economic Commission for Africa. What do I do there? What do I do there? There's something called the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, right? And we're pushing policy papers that would help for Nigeria to be well integrated in that. Now, I also engage in very high-level committees, which I would say are geared towards like the World Bank, IMF, and how should I say this? A former executive of the Women in Management Business and Public Service. So that is WIMBIZ, right? I sit on the advisory boards of a handful of women empowerment platforms. As I said, it's always difficult, I feel weird reading all of this. But let me just go straight to the, what did you ask me? Accomplishments, right? Yes. Okay, there are too many to list. However, every recognition, every award, and every appointment, I cherish, right? They come at different times. I remember when I won, I always give this story in camp, when I won the Her Network Career Woman of the Year. That was in 2018. And it came at a very difficult time. I was going through some personal issues. And so it really did help to pull me out of that ickiness that I was feeling.
I started my career at 18, just working behind the scenes mostly, and started in shipping, started in oil and gas, and worked in a bank, and had my son, and then I decided to be a stay-at-home mom for 2 years. And after that, I opened a chain of nail salons in Lagos. And I also have a couple of hotels as well, but that's not the point. And now I am the chairman and publisher of The Sun, but my greatest accomplishment is definitely my child. That's non-negotiable, so he's definitely the biggest thing that I've ever done in my life.
Thank you so much. So what advice would you have for someone who is just entering the job market, or someone who wants to make that major move and wants a salary increment?
Really interesting question. I think we negotiate every single day. In fact, let me ask the audience. In the past 24 hours, have you been in a position where you had to negotiate knowingly? If you have been, can you just raise your hands? Okay. Who are those that have not been in that situation where you had to negotiate in the past 24 hours? Okay, so all of us, right? But just a few of us. Even getting here, Getting here at the time that we did, we probably had to negotiate, right? Great. So I think just in terms of tips, the first thing is proving yourself. And let me explain. Before you even start negotiating, I think you need to know who you are, what you can deliver, what you can bring to the table, even if it's an informal negotiation.
Which of the panelists that's come on has resonated more with you and why?
First of all is Pearl, because she's my mentor, first of all. And secondly, I see a lady starting from a particular sector, changing the sector, and because she just felt that is the right path to go, and she succeeded in what she's doing. And that's me, and I think a lot of ladies in Nigeria go through that because they start with one thing and change sectors, change areas of focus. And when you see people that succeeds in that industry, you get motivated, and that's exactly.
I'm Dr. Candace King, and you're watching AFOREVO TV.